The submucosal layer is formed of loose connective tissue containing nerves, blood and lymph vessels. The digestive glands associated with the alimentary canal include the salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas. Located at the angles of the lower jaw on either side of the ducts, from these glands, namely Wharton's ducts, opens in the floor of the buccal cavity below the tongue. So, liver is the largest digestive gland in the body. Hello dear students, welcome back to session 4 of this chapter called Digestion and Absorption. Myself, B. Shobarani from the Department of Biology, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. Hope you remember in the last session we were dealing with the digestive system, that is the alimentary canal. Now let us understand some more concepts of this very interesting system, that is the digestive system. As we know, it is also called as the alimentary canal associated with digestive glands. So now let us study about the structure of alimentary canal. So here you can see the structure of the alimentary canal or the digestive system. So here you can see the mouth which leads into a buccal cavity. Then you can see the salivary glands and you can see a tubular structure called esophagus and the stomach. As we know that the stomach is divided into 4 parts, that is fundus, cardiac, body and pyloric. Then the associated glands are the pancreas and the liver and the gallbladder. And we have this is the small intestine which plays a very great role in the process of digestion. Then this is the large intestine which is also called as what? Colon. And then comes the rectum and the anus. Here you can see the small, this is called vermiform appendix. Vermiform appendix. Vermiform appendix. So now let us study about the structure of the alimentary canal. The wall of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum possesses 4 layers. What are they? Serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. So the wall of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum possesses 4 layers, that is serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Serosa is the outermost layer and is made up of thin mesothelium, that is squamous mesodermal cells with some connective tissue. As we all know that most of the epithelial tissues form the lining of internal organs, right? So they are protective in nature. So the next comes muscularis, which is formed by the smooth muscles. Then the submucosal layer is formed by the loose connective tissue containing nerves, blood and lymph vessels. So the wall of alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum possesses how many? 4 layers. What are they? Serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. Serosa is the outermost layer and is made up of thin mesothelium, and that is squamous squamous epithelium forms, they are nothing but flat cells which form the lining of most of the internal organs, or what we call it as the vestigial organs. Then visceral organs are called internal organs with some connective tissue. So muscularis is formed by smooth muscles and the submucosal layer is formed of loose connective tissue containing nerves, blood and lymph vessels. The innermost layer, the cavity of alimentary canal, is the mucosa. So this layer forms irregular folds in the stomach. I think we have already studied about the structure of stomach, where we have come across the irregular folds called rugae. Then small microscopic finger-like folding called villi in the intestine. So the villi, which are finger-like projections, are the major regions of absorption and digestion. So mucosal epithelium has goblet cells which secrete mucus that helps in lubrication. Lubrication means keeping the surface moist. Then the intestine at the basis of villi, there are glands called crypts of Lieberkühn which secretes intestinal juice needed for digestion. Then all the layers show modification in different parts of the alimentary canal. So this alimentary canal itself plays a very great role in the process of digestion. As we know, each and every part of the digestive system has a great role to play in the process of digestion. May it be the mouth or the buccal cavity having the teeth. As you know, the teeth with different types of teeth like diffeodont dentition, heterodont dentition, thecodont dentition, and the tongue, which is very much involved in the process of what do you call it as the mixing of the food and converting the food into a semi-solid food called bolus along with saliva, and which moves into the esophagus. From the esophagus it goes into the stomach, and from the stomach it goes to the first part of small intestine called duodenum. As we have already come across the two very important associated digestive glands, that is the liver, which produces bile, and the pancreas, which is both heterocrine and endocrine. Anyhow, we are going to deal with the liver and the pancreas in the coming slide. So digestive glands, as I said, now let us understand about the digestive glands. So the digestive glands associated with the alimentary canal include the salivary glands, the liver, and the pancreas. Here you can see the three pairs of salivary glands. One is called the parotid. So there are three types of salivary glands. Three types of salivary glands, namely parotid, subparotid, and sublingual. Parotid and subparotid, then sublingual and submandibular. Then submaxillary, maxillary salivary glands. All these salivary glands are very important in producing an enzyme called saliva, that is a liquid-like substance called saliva, which contains which is also called salivary amylase, or it is also called as ptyalin, right, which does the major process of digesting the carbohydrate food that is taken in the form of food, and also it helps in lubricating the food, keeping it moist and converting it into a semi-solid food called bolus. Now, digestive glands. Here you can see the liver. This is the liver and this is the pancreas. So this is the liver and this is the pancreas. So here you can see the spleen. Then the digestive glands associated with the alimentary canal include the salivary glands, the liver, and the pancreas. So salivary glands, there are three pairs of salivary glands, and their ducts are opening into the oral cavity. See, here you can see the ducts are opening. Here you can see the ducts open into the oral cavity. So three very important associated glands, digestive glands, are liver, pancreas, and the salivary glands. Then moving on to one of the salivary gland called parotid gland. So here you can see the parotid gland. Here you can see the submandibular, then sublingual, then sublingual, parotid, subparotid. All these are the different types of salivary glands. So parotid glands present just below in front of the ears. So here you can see it is present where? Parotid glands are found where? Present just below in front of the ears. The ducts, what do you mean by ducts? The pipe-like structure which carry the secretions. The ducts from these glands, namely the Stenson's duct, opens into the vestibule. So what is vestibule? Space between the lips, teeth and cheeks of the oral cavity is called as the vestibule. Opens into the tubular structure, we can call it as the space between the lips, teeth and cheeks of the oral cavity. So parotid glands is one type of salivary glands which is present just below in front of the ears, and the ducts from these glands, namely what do you call the duct as? Stenson's duct. The secretions that are secreted by the parotid gland are carried by the Stenson's duct, which opens into the vestibule. Vestibule means it is a space between the lip, teeth and cheeks of the oral cavity. Next comes the submandibular gland, so which is located at the angles of the lower jaw, hence the name mandibular. Mandibles, teeth. So jaw, so located at the angles of the lower jaw on either side of the ducts from these glands, namely Wharton's duct. There it is, Stenson's duct. Here it is called as Wharton's ducts, open in the floor of the buccal cavity below the tongue. Below the tongue. Then here you can see the sublingual gland found below the tongue. So what is submandibular gland? The very word itself will tell you, mandibles. So located at the angles of the lower jaw on either side of the ducts. From these glands, namely Wharton's ducts, opens in the floor of the buccal cavity below the tongue. Then moving on to the sublingual. Lingua means what? Tongue. So sublingual gland found below the tongue, the ducts of which also open to the oral cavity along with the Wharton's duct. So these are the three types of salivary glands. One is called the parotid gland, present just below and in front of the ears. The ducts from these glands, namely the Stenson's duct, opens into the vestibule. That is the space between the lips, teeth and cheeks of the oral cavity. Submandibular gland located at the angles of the lower jaw on either side of the ducts from these glands, namely Wharton's duct, opens in the floor of the buccal cavity below the tongue. Sublingual gland found below the tongue, the ducts of which also open to the oral cavity along with the Wharton's duct. Then liver. Let us move on to understand such a very important organ in our body and a very important storage organ we can call it as. So liver, here you can see the beautiful picture of the liver and you can see the parts here. Right liver, left liver lobe. So liver, this is the largest digestive gland in the body. So liver is the largest digestive gland in the body. And where does it lie? It lies on the right side of the abdominal cavity. So it lies on the right side of the abdominal cavity, and it weighs about 1.5 kg to 2.5 kg. So that is the reason we call it as the largest digestive gland. And it is divided into 4 lobes like right, left, quadrate and caudate lobes. So it is divided into 4 parts, 4 lobes we can call it as. Like here you can see the 4 lobes, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So here we can see the 4 lobes, right? So it is divided into 4 lobes like the right, left, quadrate and caudate lobes. These lobes are structural and functional units of the liver containing hepatic cells. So these lobes contain what? Hepatic cells, liver cells arranged in the form of cords. Cords means like cord-like structure like this. So we use the word called cords. So this is form of cords. Then each lobule is covered by a thin connective tissue capsule called Glisson's capsule. It is called Glisson's capsule. Glissons. Right. So liver, here you can see the beautiful picture of the liver here, which is divided into right and left lobe, divided into 4 lobes. Right. So liver, it is the largest digestive gland in the body. It lies on the right side of the abdominal cavity. It weighs about 1.5 kg to 2.5 kg and it is divided into 4 lobes like right, left, quadrate and caudate lobes. And these lobes are the structural and functional units of the liver containing what? Hepatic cells or liver cells arranged in the form of cords. And each lobule is covered by a thin connective tissue capsule called Glisson's capsule. Here, hope you have understood the important concepts what I have explained in this particular chapter. So moving on to the next session, in the coming session, I'll be dealing with the continuing concepts of this interesting chapter called Digestion and Absorption. Till then, goodbye and thank you.